Good morning, everybody. We are welcome to the Performance Analytics Academy session we have for today. We're going to get started. We're at the top of the hour. As we get started, I want to have a couple reminders for us that this Academy session is for you. We're here to bring you some fresh ideas, some new guidance on how some things should work, and hopefully provoke some thought about how to make your life smoother, how to make your organization run better with performance analytics. We are recording this session, and we will be posting this to our YouTube channel later this week. So if you miss anything or you want to send this to a colleague, that will be available for you. And as we're going, please feel free to use the Q&A window to ask questions. We'd love to clarify and make sure we answer and address your concerns. Please use the Q&A window, not the chat. That makes sure that we can answer everything. If we need to follow up, we'll follow up. So if you'll see in your Zoom window, that Q&A window, and it's very helpful for us to make sure that we do address your questions. As we're going, just ask whatever question that's related. We'll stop along the way and answer some of them as we're going. And then at the end, we'll open up and answer the questions related to the topic. And if you have other analytics questions that aren't, go ahead and ask those too. And if we have time at the end, we will try to address those. Today, we have a great session. I'm your host, Adam Stout, a Director of Outbound Product Management for Platform and Platform Analytics. Tara Romero is going to be presenting a really important topic for us on homepage deprecation and how that doesn't need to be scary for you. And to help us, along with myself and Tara, we have Dan Kane, Marta Penzo, and Thomas Davis to also answer our questions. So again, if you're asking your questions in the Q&A, we have lots of people to answer them as we're going. And then we'll answer them live as well. And with that introduction, I want to hand it over to Tara.
We are here today to talk to you about homepage deprecation. Most of the folks that have been around with us for quite some time, we have been hinting at this for years. So none of this should come as a surprise to you. If it does, I apologize for that, but we've actually had this in the works for several releases now, and we've never actually pulled the plug. And so now we're here because we are ready to pull the plug, and we want to make sure that transition for you is seamless, not painful, and definitely is the right decision for your organization. And I will explain why we feel that is. I did notice that Demo raised your hand like right before we get started. So do you want to ask something in the chat, or I don't know how to take him off mute while I'm presenting.
Well, let's set him to allow to talk. Yeah, so.
Go ahead. Was there a question?
Yeah, no, I guess I just maybe clicked it too fast, but I just wanted to make sure that we know the impact to the users when the
absolutely. I'm going to cover all that with you. Marta Penzo was introduced as a panelist, but she's actually the genius behind all of this. I'm presenting this, having had worked with her very closely. So if there's anything that seems scary or challenging, we have enough folks on the line, especially Marta, that are here to help address any issues or concerns you have. But I'm pretty sure we'll cover all of that during this presentation. If we do not, please raise your hand again, and we'll be happy to cover whatever we may have missed.
Thank you.
No problem.
At the end of this session, we want you to feel warm and fuzzy and excited about going to go turn something off, which can sound scary, but it's not. This is really good stuff. It's better for you. It's better for your users. And
thank God, actually. Thank God. It off.
This is a very interesting case of deprecation for the good.
Yeah.
And it's going to make your lives better. So I will be quiet now and let Tara continue.
No worries. I don't expect anyone to be quiet. Chat away. But anyway, so really quickly, we'll talk about, what is homepage deprecation. And basically, we've had several different technologies out there in our platform for some time. We no longer plan to support homepages. And the reason is simply we have better tools out there and better capabilities. And we want to be able to have all of those features in one place that we maintain and manage for you, rather than having different spots within the platform. That becomes more of an overhead, and it's difficult for you to manage. It's equally difficult for us to manage. So this is absolutely the right direction for you, so that you have something unified in one place to work at. The life cycle, I can tell you in a nutshell from when we started back in 2013, right, was, I don't know how many of you have been around that long, but we had acquired Mirror 42, which is now performance analytics in platform. It used to sit outside the platform, and we had homepages that we could put all of our funky little widgets on and stuff that we worked with. Then we went into the platform. We still leveraged homepages to show some of the stuff that we needed to show as far as dashboarding went. But then come 2017, we introduced classic UI responsive dashboards, which were basically the ability to manipulate, drag and drop, resize things, kind of had a little bit more of that feature where you could have more control, a little bit more power over what you were creating, and not as hard coded the home pages were. We introduced that. We had hoped at that point in time, that was quite a few years ago, that folks would just uptake that. They would abandon home pages because they were system performance issues with them, and they weren't as easy to manipulate and own and personalize yourself. And you remember you could create like endless home pages accidentally. So we kind of got rid of that with the responsive dashboards. But not everybody jumped on board. And so then we rolled into 2021, where we had the new themings applied to our dashboards, which was just last year, where we have a little bit more modern. I guess modern is the word that we're using now, a little bit more trendy as far as visualizations and stuff go, and into where we're headed next with our next UI experience, which is just more of the same. But as we continue to make these changes and these enhancements, and the reluctancy that some of our users tend to have of getting on board, it becomes more of a struggle to manage and maintain all of that feature parity that we want to be able to give you. So as you see, as we're progressing to all these new cool things, we have to say goodbye to the old. And so that's just kind of showing you where we came from and where we're headed and why. All right, so we have, and I say we, but our great little team, Marta's part of, has built this tool for you called the Homepage Deprecation Help Tool. And this is really great. It allows system and dashboard admins to take a look and see what actions need to be taken, how many homepages you have out there, what could be converted. You have opportunities to retire stuff, and it gives you kind of an organized view of the world, basically, as a system admin, dashboard admin, to kind of see what you have out there and kind of what your world's going to look like before you pull that trigger. You can do things in bulk, which is really exciting. So this tool is available in the store, the ServiceNow store. It is available now. It was available at the end of March. And it is something that I highly encourage you, if you're a sysadmin, download and install this plugin. If you are not a sysadmin, buddy up with your sysadmin, get them to install this for you. This is going to be a game changer as far as dealing with this migration. How will you be impacted? Administrators and dashboard administrators will be able to triage home pages and figure out if they want to retire them or convert them to these responsive dashboards. You do have to be a system administrator to do some of the functions that I'm going to show you. So if you aren't one, I hope you have a good relationship with yours, because you do want to buddy up with them. Most sysadmins may not understand whether or not the decision needs to be made as to retiring or converting. And when we say converting, we mean converting to that classic UI responsive dashboard that we showed you, because once everything's on that base, when we make the changes to the new stuff coming down the pipeline, it'll all change seamlessly for you. So we want to make sure if you have anything out there that's in a dashboard like capacity, we want it to be on that classic responsive canvas layout. So we're allowing you to convert it. You don't have to get rid of your home page per se. You have to convert it or then retire it, which essentially gets rid of it. If there are end users so we do have some home pages out there that, right, are kind of just flopping about. Maybe someone doesn't own them, but if there are end users that specifically own them, we do have a flow in place to allow them to have some control over whether or not they want to retire it themselves, or they want to make the decision to retire or convert it. So we don't put all the onus on you as sysadmins and dashboard admins to make those decisions on behalf of end users. End users are part of this decision making. However, there are some things in place that will kind of supersede that if they drag their feet a bit too long. So we'll get into that right now. So how does this feature work? Basically, it's a plugin. So as a sysadmin, you're familiar with plugins. If you're not a sysadmin, this demo kind of walks you through what it looks like to install a plugin. That's going to the ServiceNow store. You download this plugin onto your instance, and then this is how you would activate it. You install it on the instance, and yeah, basically just runs through and does an install, and then we get into the next step. But like I said before, you do need to be a sysadmin to perform this. So if you are not one, get with your sysadmin, make a note. You want this plugin downloaded from the store and installed on your instance. Okay, so once you've downloaded it, it consists of 2 pages, an overview page and a homepage migration status page. The overview is actually a dashboard that lists out, and we'll go into the details of that in the next couple of slides, but it lists out all kind of the things that we think that are important to you to know so that you can manage this migration or retire process, whatever you want to call it. And then the homepage migration status page is literally just a list of all the stuff that you still haven't made changes on, or kind of what the statuses of them are. So you can look at them. It's just a regular list, ServiceNow list. You can look at them by if they're converted, if they're retired, if they're still open and they need changes to be made, all that sort of stuff. So we'll get into details on that coming up. All right. So how does this feature work? There's a couple things that need to take place. I'm actually going to pause this walkthrough real quick while I talk about this. When I said you have to be a sysadmin, I can't restart that, huh? Can I drag this over? Yeah, I can. I want you to see here on this, I'm going to play this really quick and then I'm going to pause right here. So these two, where it says how to start on the top, this is what you have to be a sysadmin to invoke to get this started. Then as a dashboard admin, you can have visibility to this dashboard and help make the decisions as to whether or not things get retired or converted. But in order to get this rolling, you have to invoke these first 2 actions. So the first one is setting the glide property to true, which allows no longer allows the ability to create home pages, which is definitely the first step, right? We want to stop any new collateral from being built before we start getting rid of all the other stuff that was out there and existing. And then the next one is the workflow that we've created for you that goes through and does the converting, the retiring, setting up a task if it's associated to a user, all that stuff, all those flows that need to take place. And this document will list out what those flows are, I think, towards the end of it. But in order to, I see there's a lot of questions. Do I need to pause and answer any questions right now, or are we good?
I think we're good for right now. I think it's some of the things we're going to address specifically of what
coming up.
Yeah. So
okay.
We'll go forward.
Okay. Okay. So anyways, so these 2 things, how to start, you need to be a sysadmin, work with your PA admins, work with your sysadmins to make sure that these 2 things happen once the plugin's been installed. So I'll just go ahead and let the little demo play now. I just wanted to make sure you understood that part. So basically you go to this glide and you just make sure the value is set to true. It's pretty straightforward. And then the next one, invoking the workflow, we'll do something similar. Go to another tab. This is where it shows what the workflow is. In this demo, we activate it, then we test it. We do recommend probably test it first, then activate it. We were just kind of, excited to put this together and show this for you, but it's really that simple. Test your workflow, make sure that you don't get any errors, and then activate it. And that will trigger all those actions that you need to take place in order to successfully complete this migration. You will get this document at the end of this presentation. So all this stuff will be available for you to kind of pause and look through it if you have any questions. Okay, so how does this feature work? In a nutshell, the dashboard is 4 tabs. It's consists of an overview tab that you just kind of saw right now that has a high level indicator of where you are at, how many you've converted, what's left to be, what you've retired, kind of just a high level list of everything. And then we have a tab for personal homepages. These are homepages that are owned by individuals who are inactive or locked out of the system. It's important to take a look at this because if you have users out there that can't be assigned a task to determine whether or not they want to retire or convert, then these you need to take onus of as a system admin, dashboard admin, PA admin. You need to own that responsibility. So you really want to look that over, ensure that these people are either no longer with the company, maybe they left teams and they don't have a responsibility with this anymore. They're in a different org, whatever it is. And you want to take a review of that, confirm all of that, and then determine whether or not they need to go to someone else, be reassigned to someone else for the decision to be made, or just retire them yourself. We also have a tab called menus and favorites. And this is really great because what our admins, our developers have done is listed out for you all of the homepages that are associated to an actual left-hand nav menu item or have been favorited. So that is important to know because if they've been favorited, but maybe they're not owned by somebody, that means that possibly there's a group or groups of people that are using these. And so you want to kind of monitor that, make sure you do your due diligence to check around before you just retire them. Or maybe your policy is just retire them and see if someone notices. I'm not sure. Everybody does things a different way, but we also let you know if it's associated with the left-hand menu, because that's important to know as well, because as a sysadmin, you will need to update that menu item. Wait, Marta, I could be wrong right now. I think we do take care of updating the menu item with the dashboard. I believe that's correct. So never mind what I just said. And then usage. The usage is just a list of homepages that have not been viewed in the last 30 days. And this is just kind of a way to show you, hey, you have a bunch of stuff out there. Maybe you have no owners for them or people who do own them and haven't even looked at them in 30 days. How valuable are they? So this is a good conversation for you dashboard admins to have with your sysadmins to say, maybe, hey, we make this decision on our own because there's like 900 out there that haven't been looked at in 30 days. And do we really need to deal with hunting down folks and asking questions? Okay, so this is kind of a breakdown of what's on the overview page. So we have several single scores, as you can see, listing which home pages have not been deprecated. So basically, when you start out, it's probably going to be all the home pages that you have, how many you've converted, how many you've retired. And then we do have an option to restore a home page. So if you have visibility into a home page that has been deprecated, and for some reason a user says, whoa, that was a mistake, or you realize that you batched something and you accidentally batched something you shouldn't have, you can restore it, but it will restore to that converted dashboard. It won't restore to a homepage. And then we have, just a report that shows you how many, homepages are assigned to users, how many are assigned to groups. And then we have the list report that we kind of provide out of the box with most of our dashboards. Here's an example of what.
Hey, Tara, real quick. I'm sorry.
No
so
problem.
Going back to when you were talking about the favorites and menu items, they will have to be updated.
They will have to be. Okay. I
Yeah.
remember we had this conversation and then I remember we went to test it and I couldn't remember if they had to update so I apologize. If it's associated with a menu item on the left-hand navigation as a system admin, so dashboard admins, PA admins, you will need to work with your system admin to make sure that the left-hand navigation menu item has been updated from that homepage that has been deprecated to the dashboard. And it's a simple, less than 30-second process to do. But be aware that that is an activity that will need to happen. Otherwise, you will have a left-hand menu item that goes nowhere. Sorry. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that for me. Couldn't remember. Okay. So this is the personal homepages. And in our example here, we didn't have any, which is great because we don't have any personal homepages that belong to people who are no longer with this company, are inactive for whatever reason. Maybe they're in a different org, finance, HR, and they don't need to have visibility into this stuff. Either way, if you do have people that fall into that bucket, like I said, here would be, you would have a list of who those people are. And as dashboard sysadmins, y'all would need to make that decision. Here's what the page looks like with all of the list of stuff that's associated with menu items are favorited. And then it shows you at the bottom, just kind of like a layout of what the homepage is and what menu item it's associated with. Just kind of help when you're making those conversions to see what you have left as far as cleanup and stuff goes. And then usage. This is the other one that I was saying. This is the list kind of that shows what hasn't been touched or viewed in over 30 days. And if this is an extensive list for you, you may want to have just a conversation between your admin and you as PA admin, dashboard admins. Make that decision yourself. If 30 days is normal and people don't look at stuff for 30 days in your organization, that's for you to decide. But where we are at ServiceNow, 30 days is a long time to go without looking at collateral. So maybe it's not useful, and we might make that decision, on their behalf. All right. So there are a couple decisions that will have to be made. Convert versus retire. Convert is just simply converting it to the new responsive dashboard that we've been talking about. And retire basically is letting it go, sending it off to pasture. So and there's a couple actions that happen, different flows that happen when you make these decisions. So we'll kind of show you what that looks like. If it's a personal homepage, a different flow is triggered where a task gets created. The task goes off to the owner of that particular homepage, and then they can decide whether they want it converted. So they want to reject. So if you send it to be converted, and they reject it, it will be retired. If you send it over to be retired and they reject it, it will be converted. So it's kind of that whole crisscross thing. They have to make the decision. However, if they do not make a decision within 14 days, so that task expires, then it will just be retired. Now they always have the option of looking at their retired stuff and saying, no, this was a mistake. I was on vacation for 4 weeks, and so I missed that. In which case they can unretire it and it will automatically be converted. And I get into that a little bit later as well. The homepage migration status table, which is the other menu item underneath the homepage deprecation help tool, is just the list basically of what tasks are outstanding, what the name of the homepage is, who owns it, if it's a dashboard now, and just kind of basically everything and what state it's in. So right now it's either going to be converted, retired, if it'll be close complete, if it's been converted, retired, or restored. It will be open if it's still outstanding. And so this is just kind of a good way to look and see as an admin, how the teams are progressing and how you're moving and what's outstanding. Kind of get an idea of where action needs to take place off if you're not looking at the dashboard version. Okay, so converting a homepage to a dashboard. So I'm just going to pause this for a quick second. This is going to show you how the flow goes. So what you're going to basically do is go to this homepage deprecation help tool, and we're going to look at all of the stuff that needs to take place. So it's going to take us to this dashboard, and the dashboard, and then we're going to choose within the dashboard what actions we want to take. So, and then based off of that, in this example, we're converting. So I just want you to understand, once this is the example of converting a homepage to a responsive Canvas dashboard, and I'll let this little video play really quick. Basically go to that dashboard page. We look at all the stuff that's left to be deprecated. And then we say, okay, I still have 40 home pages. They either need to be converted or retired. I'm going to decide I want to do these 3. I want to convert these 3 to responsive Canvas dashboards. I've done my homework. I know what needs to be done. And it's basically that simple. In this example, we're going to show you how to find those ones that you just did. So we're going to look at everything that was just converted. You'll see the state has changed to close complete. Now I have 3 dashboards that, so we'll look at what the dashboard looks like. So now we went from a home page to a responsive Canvas dashboard. You may have to do some resizing of some of the widgets if things look funky. That's just a housekeeping thing that you need to decide. But now if you go back and look at the homepage migration status, you'll see that you have all these ones that are converted now. And then you'll also see, if we go back and look at the homepage, that the homepage is no longer selectable and only an admin can do maintenance with any of this stuff. So those are the changes that this workflow puts into place. Okay, moving on. This is just a blow up of showing you exactly what you can see. If you look at the task, you can see that the decision was to be converted, that it's closed complete, it's no longer selectable, all that kind of stuff if you were actually to go into the actual task item. So you can either look at the actual old homepage, the new dashboard, or the task to see where you're at with everything. So all the information is kind of there triple fold. I see a new question. Do I need to pause, or are we okay?
I think there is a good question coming in, which disappeared. But for everybody's benefit, is this running the tool? Is this something I should do in production, or is it something I should do in a subprod and then migrate up?
I think it's fine to do it in production. I don't think we are worried about that.
Yeah, the suggestions is to do it in production.
Okay.
I think I might run it in subprod, especially running the flow. I'd want to test it out in the process, since we are going to be impacting a bunch of people. But in real life, you're going to then end up executing it in prod.
Right, because if you're on a subprod,
yeah,
it depends on how fresh the data is, right?
Yeah, and unless homepages are created in production, right? Dashboards most of the time are created in production. Some come up from a subprod, but I think you're gonna have to run this in prod. But there's a lot here. There's a lot of functionality in here, so I think you kicking the tires on a subprod will give you an idea of how this is going to run for you. Make sure you understand it.
Yeah, I guess it can't hurt.
Yeah, it's not going to hurt for you to run into subprod.
Yeah.
For you to get familiar with it. And then once you're going to actually roll this out and take care of the home pages, that's going to be something I probably do. I think you're going to have to do in production.
Okay. Thank you. All right, carrying on. So now we're going to walk through retiring a homepage, which is exactly like what you just saw. So I won't even need to doing the same exact thing. We're selecting multiple ones. We're performing the actions against those items, and then we're looking for those that have been retired. And now we don't have a dashboard. Notice that the dashboard field is empty. Actually, I will pause there really quick and go back. Maybe I'll go back. Okay, I'll go back to here to show you. We still have a task assigned to it. The decision was to make it retired, and the dashboard is empty. So that's the takeaway from here. Is it's been retired, so it's no longer selectable. You can't write to it anymore. It's off to Never Never Land. And then the list your single scores should update as soon as you make these decisions. All right, retiring a personal homepage. I'm going to pause this one right here really quick. So this is the one where it triggers a different workflow. This one says, okay, I'm going to retire a homepage that actually belongs to somebody. So this triggers a flow that goes off and says, okay, I need to find the owner. And in this case, we want to look at anything that's actually owned by somebody. And we want to trigger the flow that says, okay, go off and create a task, ask the owner if I can retire this or convert it. And then the owner has a responsibility on their end to view the task and respond, make an action. And if they don't, like we had called out before, in 14 days, they will automatically get retired. And so then the owner has to do a little bit more work if that was not the decision that they wanted made. So I will show you really quick here. This is the first part of what happens on this side of the flow as an admin, sysadmin, dashboard admin. We're looking for stuff that's owned by somebody. So in this case, in our example, this particular homepage is owned by an individual named Able Tutor. We're going to tell him we want to retire it. So rather than seeing it in the list again, as something that, I'm going to pause this because it's just replaying now. Now it's created a task and it's gone off to Able Tutor, and it says requested because we've asked them to make the decision now. So now I will move to the next slide and show you what Able has to do. So on Able's end, and we're going to impersonate Able in this example. So as the owner of his personal homepage, he's going to go look at his tasks. So anything that he needs to address, his approvals, and he's going to see that a task has been created for him, and the state is requested because we've asked him to make a decision. So now in this example, he's going to hit reject. He doesn't want this to be retired. So as it's being rejected, he'll see right here, please convert to a dashboard. So once he clicks reject, the flow goes back and says, okay, this user's rejected us retiring it. I'm going to automatically convert this to a responsive dashboard. And so that's all happens in those flows that we activated at the very beginning. So now our demo here is going to go back and show us that we've converted another homepage. And we'll look for something that's owned by Able Tutor, and you'll see that it's closed complete and it's been converted. And that all happens based off of the workflow that's already been created for you. So that's how it works when it's a personal user. Restore. So we talked about this earlier. If Able Tutor was on vacation for 4 weeks and he's only got 14 days to make this decision, and his home pages have all been retired, and he comes back and he's flaming mad, he can't handle everything, he doesn't know what to do, he does have an option from the service catalog to go back to restore. If he goes and finds his home pages that have been retired accidentally, he can say, I want you to restore these from the service catalog, and they will automatically be converted. So we are no longer allowing that feature of restoring home pages to home pages, creating new home pages, all that's gone. Now we are, if you want to keep this, you can keep it as a responsive Canvas dashboard. And we'll show you what that looks like right here. So you go off to your service catalog, you realize that you've come back from vacation, and or maybe you're a dashboard admin and you realized, oh shoot, I wasn't supposed to let these ones get retired. You can go to the service catalog yourself, or you just do it from the flow, but you can go back here, you can look for your home pages. That was my home page as Able Tutor, and I want it to be restored. Once it's been clicked, and you've done it, it automatically gets converted to a dashboard. And there you go, you see it. All right. Now, additional attributes of this homepage migration tool and all this great stuff is, yes, that it is domain separated. Yes, it's visible to all users as a dashboard. Does it support self-hosted on-prem? Absolutely. And yes, it is available in the store as of end of March. So please go out there, like we said, and get this. It's going to make life so much easier for you. Some of the stuff that comes with this, obviously we have a new table. We have those 4 flows that we talked about. We populate that homepage migration status table. We have the conversion of personal homepages, which triggers that task to be created. We are restoring homepages from that service catalog item. By restoring, we're creating new responsive Canvas dashboards, not actually restoring a homepage. And then we're also doing the retire of the personal or global homepages, where either a task gets triggered if it's personal, or it just gets retired if it's global. And then the plugin again is the homepage deprecation help tool, which is available in the store and can be installed by a sysadmin. Customization. So this is basically about this homepage migration tool. There's no code, nothing needs to be altered. It's just a plugin that needs to be installed. We do ask that you do not change this out of the box dashboard. And the reason is because this homepage migration is going to take course over the next release, I believe. I don't think we're doing a hard stop until our Tokyo release. So because we're giving you time to make these changes, we may update our store app, which is the homepage migration tool. If we make any changes that make it a little bit easier or better for you, and right now I think it's pretty great, but who knows, there might be something better that we can do for you. If we decide to make changes to that store app and you've customized that dashboard for your needs, like you say, change something for whatever reason, we won't be able to update it for you. You would have to reinstall the new version and then work with 2 versions. And so that's kind of one of the things that we're saying, don't update it if you can possibly get around it, because it just makes life easier for you. And it's just a new app, so there's no conflicts. It doesn't overlap with anything or trigger any issues. Best practices, of course, dashboard admin won't be able to access the link. We've explained that several times. Buddy up with your sysadmin. Make sure you guys are working together in partnership with this. All this stuff is all making sure you're working with a sysadmin buddy and making sure that all that stuff, you guys are constantly in cahoots, making sure that you have a good relationship to achieve all this stuff. Oh, we do have a limit of 1,000 sys portal pages. A workaround is to leave the populate flow running for a couple days, and that should be able to add more records so that you aren't stuck with just if I'm assuming some customers may have thousands of home pages, so this could be an issue. So here's a way to get around that. Oh, and because it's done from the back end, this is what I talked about earlier. When you convert a homepage to a responsive Canvas dashboard page, the widgets might look weird because of the sizing, because not everything's pixel to pixel perfect. So you may have to go in, edit your dashboard, and resize some of your widgets, realign things so that it's a little bit more aesthetically pleasing or the way you originally had it. And that's just part of, we're doing all this stuff from the back end and just kind of flipping things. And so, yeah, there might be a little bit of hands-on work. Shouldn't be too much, especially if you're using this opportunity, as I suggest most of you do, to clean up and get rid of stuff that you don't really need out there. And if you do that, you should only have to put your hands on the stuff that is extremely important and critical. Yeah. And once you receive this document, here's a list of all the useful links that we have. Obviously, a link to the store to get the tool, and then any resources that we have on how to convert all this material, how to retire, restore, etc. All the stuff that we've covered today. We will also provide links to all of that stuff when you get this document at the end of this presentation. Adam, I believe the floor is yours. Does anyone have any questions you want to ask out loud? Hello.
Yes, I'm going to take over sharing, but let's see what questions we have in there.
Okay, looks like David Hoagland raised his hand. You want to take him off mute?
David, you should be able to talk now.
Yeah, you should be. I just took them off. You have to unmute yourself, David, and you're good.
There we go. Yep. So a couple questions. New users, when we set them up, they automatically get set up as home pages. And to use dashboards, they have to go into settings and switch to dashboards. So when we convert everybody to dashboards, will that setting need to be manually changed so that new users or maybe even existing users have their settings set to dashboards?
I can reply to this. Luckily, no. As soon as you put the property to true, actually all the users will automatically get the dashboards as their main start page instead of home pages.
Okay.
So you don't have to do anything manually.
Okay, good. And then
good question.
is there another way like to show the benefits, like the performance? Like if somebody loads a home page, I can see it might take several seconds to load. And if it's on a dashboard, will it load faster, even if it has the same number of reports showing? I know, typically you have to scroll down for them to render, so it's probably faster.
Yeah, with dashboards, there's two things that are going to make it faster. Just the first load over to it is that it's lazy loading, so it's not loading things you can't see. So that's better for overall system performance, and for users, it's in theory better, right? First part's load. You'll get what you see loaded first. You do see when you scroll that it loads the other stuff. The other option that you get is that if you break some of so I've seen some homepages that are just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. Putting those into different tabs does the same thing as well.
Yeah.
So it allows you to focus in, and once you have converted your homepage, the user might just move some of the stuff to a new tab.
And the only way to do that is to manually add the widget to the second tab and then delete it from the first tab.
Yes.
Okay, you can't drag and drop.
Not between tabs.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Right. And it'll, which would be nice, but the loading, again, overall, you're going to see system improvement, right? We're not loading stuff we're not seeing. So that is a good improvement for everybody, for everything. The user with a straight move is fine. What I see most of it though, is that I have 4 homepages and now I can have one dashboard with tabs. So it can allow your users to just have a much better experience. And because we have, as it came up before, because we still continue to default to homepages, I've seen plenty of users that don't even know dashboards exist. Right. And so we want to make sure you have the tools to give them a quick kick to get them to move over to dashboards, because it is better for them. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it did. Thank you very much.
The actual report, if you have one report on a homepage and you have one report on a dashboard, it's going to load the same. So, but overall, it's certainly better for everybody. There was another question that came in, and I want to just point out this. The question was, I have a homepage. I have a custom widget on a homepage, and it doesn't seem to work on a dashboard. If that's the case, custom means I don't know. We have an issue, and they should work. The only case I've seen them not work is when somebody had a custom widget that was using some of the homepage magic. It should be fixable, but can't be guaranteed to work. If you have a custom widget, and I don't know if any of the out of the box ones don't work, but except for sticky notes. If you have a custom widget, I would put a post in the community and ask for some help. You're gonna have to share the code of the widget. You could try putting in a support case, but they're generally not going to be able to help out a lot when it's all custom. But I think the action I would take if I had a custom widget that I couldn't figure out what was going on, post some of the code examples into the community and see how we can fix them. And as we all do that right now, since we're all kind of closing out homepages, hopefully we should be able to build some knowledge pretty quickly on how to fix some of the custom stuff that's out there. And there's just not much we can do since it is all custom. Hopefully though, that once we see it, we'll be able to find a couple of the patterns and help you understand how do you convert to a different pattern. Did anybody on the panel see any other questions we need to address right now before we move to some of the unrelated things?
No related questions. There's a couple of unrelated questions in the chat that I'm not sure. I have to do some research to be able to answer them. In the Q&A, I meant. But nothing related to homepages. They're PAR questions.
If anyone else has a homepage question, either type it in or you can raise your hand, and we can unmute you.
Okay, well, as we're going through, we do a few more minutes. I see. Well, actually, I just want to call out there was a comment in it, but I really appreciate that we have this app and we have the ability to go through this. Marta and team, thank you for building it. I'm responsible for a lot of upgrades, and this is a great app. We don't have to wait until the upgrade, right? Utah is coming in the future, right? And the homepages are being deprecated. Homepages are going to go away, and I don't want you to have to wait. So as long as once you're on, Rome patch 8 is what we need. As long as you're on Rome, you can start this now. There's just no reason to wait. And I'm really happy that we spent some time for our existing customers to make upgrading easier, smoother, better for you, easier for you, better for your users, and smoother for your end users. So I'm really happy we have this tool. I hope that you all appreciate it as well. If you don't mind telling any of your ServiceNow people that you talk to that you appreciate that's in there. We have to take some of the resources away from some new development to make sure this happens, but all of you that are here are very important to us. And we want to make sure that we are empowering you to have this smooth upgrade and get the most out of it. And as a question that came in, this is only for Rome and San Diego. So if you're on Quebec, you do need to upgrade before you can do it. I can see it being useful even in Quebec, but again, you just need to make sure that we take care of this before we get to Utah. So you do have plenty of time. I wouldn't be worried about it. But for those of us on Rome and now on San Diego, there's no reason to wait until next year to do this. This is just going to make your life better, make your end users better. And as we're stalling for any other questions, another one came in. Marta, I don't know if you know the answer to this about the group field on sys report. I think I know the answer, but
I was confused with the question. I was going to ask him to, because group by on the report is not the same as the sys user group. Those are group
field. There is a group field. I believe the answer to this is it's old. I think it's just old.
I do think it's just a legacy column, most probably.
You think it is a legacy column?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
it is just a reference to this group. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a child table. And I do not remember the name of it off the top of my head, but there's a child table, which is that has it's all the I know for dashboards it's sharing, and I think the same thing happens for reports. That I believe there is a child table for reports that actually lists the groups, users, and roles that have access to it, or at least the groups and users roles might still be on there. But I think we moved from having a group list on the sys report table to having a child table, which is nice to have too if you're doing any bulk maintenance, because you can query that table and add that table, similar to what we're doing with home pages. But in sys report, the sys report table itself is very, very old. I'm sure it's at least a dozen years old at its core. And there have been some fields, as we've gotten better, as we've gotten smarter, we've adapted, added more functionality. We've split some fields into child tables. And when we do that, we don't always go back and remove the field because it's working for some users, particularly as we build out early. But I think we might need to take an action to go inactivate a field. If you are looking at a field and you have a question about some of that, one of the things you want to make sure you do is look at the dictionary and see if the field is active, because there are fields on tables. Really, really awesome feature, I think, for all of us is taking a field that you're retiring and marking it inactive. And when it's inactive, it still shows up on reports. It still shows up in list views, but you can no longer add it to new reports. You can no longer modify a report and add it. You can no longer add it to a list view, which is a great way to retire a field when you're replacing it. Just we all have that at least for our custom apps. And so make sure that if you have a question about a field that it is active, because as ServiceNow, we're pretty uncomfortable with deleting your data. It's just not something we're going to do very often. So in some cases, we'll leave a field that we don't use anymore, but we'll mark it inactive and put the new one in there. But because you might have to migrate, or we might have to migrate, we're not going to drop that field for you. And once it's inactive, unless you're looking at the dictionary, it's not going to be a huge issue. Okay, we have a question about the Rome patch 7 stuff. And I actually thought the store wouldn't let you install something that you weren't on the right patch level for. But I will say, if anything in the store, if it says it's certified at a certain patch level, I'd probably trust that. A lot of times,
there are some discrepancy with the store. Sometimes when we go through the certification, we cannot choose a patch that is not yet released. So like make sure that there are notes in the store apps about which are the patches that we support. If you are on a patch that is not Rome patch 8 or San Diego patch 2 and onwards, unfortunately, the flows will not run. So you will not be able to convert or retire, and the changes on the actual homepage record will not be affected and taken care. So it is important to be on those patches.
yeah, and what you'll see is if something happens at a patch level, it's most of it works and something doesn't. And that's why we will set the minimum patch level to come through. So on a subprod, I mean, in this case, we know what the answer is. And in other cases, if I were running on a subprod or I was on my PDI or something like that, I might still do it, but the patch versions are there for a reason. Okay, and we have another question coming in.
Do we?
We do. Luis, do you have a question?
Oh, hands raised. Got it.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm looking at the Q&A. I don't see anything. The floor is yours, Luis. You have to take yourself off.
Yeah, you need to unmute yourself.
I guess.
No, I don't have any questions. Sorry.
Oh, no problem. Okay, and with that, looks like we got through our questions. We got through no other hand raises coming in. I want to take another minute again. Marta and team, thank you for taking the time to really think about what it means to migrate from homepages to dashboards and giving us a tool so that we don't have to have everybody reinventing the wheel. So thank you very much for that. Tara, thanks for a great presentation to walk us through this and go through it.
Thomas did the presentation. He's amazing.
Thank you, everybody who contributed to this. Attendees, I hope that you found this useful and you'll be able to reference it. And with that, we're going to wrap up with a few items. So next, we referenced it a few other times, but make sure that you're taking a look at the community page for analytics, intelligence, and reporting. Lots of great content on there. And if you have a question, specifically something technical that we can't answer here, you feel free to post something and look what other people have said as well. And as we have a couple challenges with some of these migrations, this is the best place to do it. Support, if you have something's broken, don't be afraid to open up a support case. But if you have a question on how should I approach this or what are you doing, the community is a great place for that. And then on the community, you'll see a link to the Platform Analytics Academy community page. That's where you'll find an archive of all of our sessions here. I think we have it going back to 2019. Lots and lots of content in here that's come through. So if you have a few minutes, so you have a question, you can search through year by year and find what's there, find a session. You'll hear us talking about it. A lot of the same people that are on today, presentation attached and questions about it. So lots and lots of great content for you. This will be there shortly. And training, if you haven't been there now learning, got a bit of a facelift. Lots of great content there as well to go through. The search was very much improved. New content is going to be coming out for San Diego in the near future. So make sure that you go take a look at Now Learning for what you can see in classes you can take. They range from a 5-minute class to a 5-day class. This is where you sign up for in-person training, but then also lots and lots of self-paced training for you. There we go. And there is a new updated, speaking of the training, there's a new updated PA Advanced On Demand course. So go take a look at that and what's available for you. If you haven't taken it and you're taking the time to be on this call, this might be something that you should look into to understand some more of the advanced concepts we have with performance analytics. And this academy, if you found it useful, there are other academies out there. The Creative Workflows and Platform Academy has amazing content specifically on upgrades, ATF, lots of content that is targeted a lot towards developers and admins. But make sure that you're taking a look at those, at the list of content, because you might find some of those things really useful yourself. You may not go every session, but you definitely want to review what's there so that you can take advantage of it and be a little bit more informed and maybe drive your admins a little bit more to help you. Mobile Academy and Virtual Agent Academy, 2 other sessions that are great as well. These all run on a bi-weekly basis like this one. And there was a question about this, and I don't know what the answer is we put in, but about external data. In 2 weeks, April 20th, we're going to be talking about external data in and with performance analytics. Comes through. Dan Kane, who's on here, is going to be leading us through different ways you can bring data in. So there are lots of options on how to do it. And we're going to walk through some of the thought process on which is the right one for you. Different use cases will come up, we'll use different ways to bring data in. So this is going to be a great session where we're not talking about one specific feature, but we're going to be talking about how do I have this, how do I bring this data in that's not in my ServiceNow instance? How do I get it and use it just like it was?
Kavya, I can use that as a nice use case example that I had, the one you put in the questions. I mean, I looks like Tara's going to try to help you with that, but that's good. I'm glad you asked it now, so I can actually plug that in as an example.
Oh, awesome.
So I'm looking forward to that one. I know we get that in different places, so that's going to be a great session for everybody to attend. And then with that, I want to thank you for your time. Look forward to seeing your questions in the community, and look forward to you having some really hard, difficult questions to ask Dan next week about external data.